Okay, it's acting like it's already started. Sounds good to me. All right, everybody. Hello again. We are back. I dug out a bunch of boxes, as you can maybe see, and I put some wax paper under some of them. Some of them don't have wax paper. So what I'm going to do is, and I don't plan to put any wax paper on the ones that I don't have wax paper, just because I'm being a miser. I'm going to brush some glue on these, but just to let you know what's going on. This is another Wargaming and miniature video where I build terrain, paint figures, wargame, things like that on the channel. And if you like these videos, be sure to like the video, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, any kind of donations or super chats would be very helpful for the channel. It'll help me do more things like this. So what I did yesterday was cut felt into templates that would later be laid down on the table when I play Freeman's Farm or any other miniature game. We can use these templates for any game. And then I put Alex paste, the acrylic latex, all over the felt. And once that got 90% dry, I went ahead and did a brush on camouflage brown. It's like a really dark brown on these. I did that this morning actually, and now these are dry. So when I peeled them off of the wax paper that I had laying on the table, there was a lot of extra paint flash going off the edge of the tree line. So I took my scissors and I went through and I trimmed off all the excess paint. So now it's just the felt, the plaster, and the paint. Now what I'm going to do is take some Mod Podge that I've mixed a little bit of water with it, and it's probably 2/3 Mod Podge. I normally shoot for about 50%, but that's fine. 2/3 is okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to brush the glue all over these templates, and then I'm going to use the earth blend because it's got kind of a darker, it's kind of a green but mostly brown kind of tint, right? And then I'm going to scatter that like it's going to be very patchy. It doesn't have to cover the entire thing. Now these are not the same color as the roads, right? These are the color of the base of the roads. But that's because I wanted the roads to be exposed. But because these are going to be covered in grass and trees, it doesn't need that kind of attention. I don't need to go over this with any lighter browns. So this will suffice for that light brown that I'm talking about. And it's going to be kind of a scattering of this color. I'm going to do probably about half with this color. And then I've got a green blend, which back when I used to do 15mm Napoleon's battles, I used to use this exclusively for my flocking of bases, but I've kind of changed my technique over time. But this is going to go on about half of the board. So there's going to be some, maybe, there's going to be some exposed areas. Possibly. And then I'm going to sprinkle some coarse turf, light green. I'm going to sprinkle this on there. Now what's going to wind up happening is I'm not shaking anything off. I'm doing it all at once. So what will wind up happening is when I do shake it off, which I'll shake it off after a couple hours of it drying, it's going to make a mixture of this earth blend, this green blend, and this coarse turf. And it's going to be how do I say it? It's going to be like an eclectic mix of turfs. And then later, when I go to do some other piece of terrain or whatever, I can use that mixture and just go straight on with that mixture. And it'll look just fine. It'll be perfectly fine. So we're going to do this one first. Test my process. Okay, got to make sure that water and that Mod Podge is mixed up, because the Mod Podge over time will settle. This is a tacky glue bottle that I repurposed, and I'm planning on just doing something like that. I could probably use my finger, but I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and use this brush. Okay, got to hold it down. And if I don't get it close or over the edge, it's okay, because the felt template itself represents the edge of the wooded area. Okay. Voila. We'll take the shaker. I probably could put this somewhere where it's not going to be interfering. Put a little bit there. Put a little bit there. Put some there. Put some there. What do you think? That looks good. Maybe a little bit in the center. All right, that looks good. Now we go with the coarse. Okay, the coarse, I really didn't think it was going to come out of the shaker very well. I have recovered some of this course in a tub, and I could just sprinkle it on. Anywhere where I see like white from the glue, I'm going to try to get some coarse in there. Now, because the coarse is sitting on top of the fine, I really don't expect the coarse to take a lot of hold. I expect it to be very, very loose. Like it's going to, most of the coarse is going to come off. Okay. We can do all three of these pieces all simultaneously, hopefully. Luckily, Mod Podge is a water cleanup. So once I'm done, I can just use water on my brush and get all that Mod Podge off there. But make sure you do get it all off of there because you don't want it drying on your brush. If it does dry on your brush, don't be afraid to soak the brush in water, maybe a little warm water, and the Mod Podge will re-liquefy, and then you can wash your brush. Because PVA glue and Mod Podge is a mixture of PVA and resin, like an acrylic resin. So I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend cleaning your brush as soon as you can. Not letting it dry on your brush because it doesn't reconstitute like Elmer's. Okay. Brown, which sprinkles really well. This one might be in the way of my work here. And I'm going at it at different angles because I want it to look kind of random. And then green. But not on everything. I want the course to have something to stick onto as well. And then I'm not using this course. I'm using this course until it runs out. I'm trying to sprinkle it, but it wants to fall in clumps. But that's okay. I mean, it is technically clump foliage. This is going to represent underbrush in the woods. You know, like deadfall or whatever. All right. Alright. Now I'm going to pat this one down a little bit. Get all the flock to kind of grip onto that glue. And then I'll pat this one down after I move on. Okay, I've got a little bit of extra glue on the wax paper. Scooped it up a little bit. And remember, my motto when it comes to terrain, mistakes are recommended. You want mistakes, because it'll make it look more natural and less manufactured. Now, there's something I could do, but I'm not going to do, and that's use a scenic cement. I have scenic cement that I could squirt on top of the flock to kind of seal it in. If I was doing a terrain board, I would do that. But these are little templates that are going to sit on top of a board. Not too concerned about it, to be honest. Kind of getting a feel for it, are you? I don't know if you can really see what I'm doing. Let me see if I can adjust the camera just a little bit on this set. Let's see if that helps. You can see a lot of the white is shining through. Get kind of a camouflage look. They're still white. What I think I'm going to do, because I don't anticipate a lot of the brown or green to fall off, especially the brown, because it was the first layer. I don't expect a lot of the brown to fall off. Some of the green and almost all of the clump is going to fall off. I think I'm going to store that all back in here. As coarse turf. Okay. Since we did this one, now I'm going to pat this one down. And the patting process I did do on those as well. Now I'm not going to pat this until I get another one of these done. So So what I think I'm going to do now is do a little juggling. Like this can go over here. This one can go here. Yeah, I did a refill on my Mod Podge bottle here because it was getting really low. Because I use it almost exclusively for when I base figures. And I haven't refilled it in 6 months, maybe. Nah, not that long. Maybe 4 or 5 months. I'm guessing. I don't know. And I do want this go on there kind of thick, so that it does shine through and is able to grip or grab the flock. I don't know if you can see this on the camera because, well, you're not going to be able to see it now because I moved the camera. But over here on the edge of the table, right in this section, I've got a whole bunch of fencing. I laid it out because I wanted to see how many feet I have. And I've actually got 20 plus feet of fences. Not even counting the unmade fencing that I have still in the packaging. I don't know why it is, but the green wants me to go in an up and down motion like a salt shaker or something like that to get it out. Where the brown, I can go left and right with it. The green doesn't want me to do that. I don't know why that is. Got a different consistency, maybe? Maybe. I don't even know. Might have to fill this up with more from that. Because I don't want to knock anything off of the templates until it's dry. Now, there are some other terrain makers out there and other people that paint miniatures or flock or, and they use different brands of flock. There's a lot of different brands. There's a lot of different styles too. There's sawdust style flock, which if it's finely cut, I really like the sawdust stuff, really good. Then there's the foam stuff, which is what I'm using right here. And then there's static grass, right? Well, some of these other terrain makers or instructors or whatever they like to call themselves, they're giving you one of them anyway, specifically one of them that I can name, but I'm not going to name his name. He gives out bad information. He's been doing it many, many years, and for what he's doing, it works for him, right? But the mechanics of what he's doing, the way he describes it, is false. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to correct what he has said. What he demonstrates. What he does is, look how much I barely touch this. This thing is like, you get way more than you think you're getting. Okay, let me be a little careful because these are thin. What he does is he'll put the glue on just like what we're doing, and then he'll apply his flock. He's got a special blend, which we all do. I've got some rocks in my flock, in my figure flock. And he's got, various things, bushes or whatever. And all that is perfectly fine. But his advice to you is right immediately, like no time to spare. As soon as you put the flock on, to immediately take the model and flip it over and knock off any excess flock. And for years, I've been telling my students, don't do that. Apply the glue like I'm doing, right? However you want to apply it. Apply the flock on top of it, and then let it soak. Leave it. Don't knock anything off. Because, and I can explain it pretty easily, liquid, glue, water, oil, whatever, it has something that's called surface tension. Have you ever filled a glass of water so high that the water actually sticks above the lip of your glass, but it doesn't spill? It's got like this concave dome on top. Well, surface tension is what's holding it together. And if you put flock on top of your glue, what it's really sitting on top of is that surface tension. It's not actually in the glue. Don't get me wrong, some of it is, a lot of it is, but a lot of it is also not. So if I sat here for a few minutes, you would see the flock soak into the glue. And so we're going to take advantage of that. And we're not going to shake off the excess flock. What we're going to do is let it sit there and let the weight of the flock, I know it seems like it's weightless, right? Because it's foam, but depending on what kind of flock you're using, let it soak into the glue. It does a couple of things. First of all, you get a better adherence, like it sticks better, right? So when the glue dries, it actually has a better grip on the flock. I've seen these guys that test, different styles of flock and how good they are at sticking to models and stuff like that. Well, they test it. They have a false test because they put the glue down, they shake the flock off, and then they wait for it to dry, and then they go in with their fingernail and they try to scrape off any excess flock, and you're going to get a lot of excess flock coming off because they didn't let it soak into the glue. That's the first reason. And the second reason is you get a thicker coat, a better coverage. Because as the lower part of the flock starts to soak into the glue, the upper part gets stuck on the glue as well, and you get a better looking coverage. Now, if you're going for a coverage with gaps and holes in, or a thin grass, wild grass on a train set or something, that's something you might like. But I don't like that look on my figures. I want them completely covered. Not completely. Let me take that back. I want to see the ground texture underneath the flock. But what I do is I don't put glue over the entire thing. Right? I put glue on about 2/3 of my base so that the dirt underneath will shine through. Boy, I'm full of dimes today. Okay, there is no wax paper under here, and this is almost empty. I might go through this entire bottle for all this terrain, but then when I collect it back up, it's going to fill like almost this entire bottle. I think it's because when they package it, they must scrunch it in there and they make it super tight. And then as it comes out, it opens up because it's like a foam. Okay, there's only one piece here. So on this, I have to be real careful not to go over the edge, or I'm going to paint the box. Which is okay. I don't really care. I use these boxes just to store like extra figures and bits, like heads and rifles and stuff like that. And I usually put those in some kind of plastic bag anyway. That's why I didn't think it was going to be that important to put a wax paper down on this one. Or any of these right here. Okay, that's good. Now this clump foliage, like I said, it's foam, right? And it's really soft. It's fine. It's fine. It's not as fine as the flock, but it is super soft and small enough that if I put my trees on top of it, they won't like tip over or, run into problems. Okay, I did push this one down. Okay, I did not push this one down. And I can see a little bit of this glue shining through from underneath the flock. I was thinking about just putting the flock along the edge. I'm talking about the coarse stuff, to like accentuate the edge. But I don't think I need to do that. I think just the dark brown alone, with grass on top of it and trees, you're gonna easily be able to tell where the edge of this tree template is. I don't think there's any need for like extra effort. Okay, after reviewing my map of the Saratoga battlefield, I realized there was a couple of additional wheat fields that were present, that I neglected to make wheat fields for. Okay, I might have overdid it on the green on this one. I think I did. That's all right. I think very little is going to stick on this guy. Got to get under that corner there. There we go. There's only 2 more pieces left. That's awesome. Okay, let's break this up a little bit. There we go. Okay. I think that's going to be enough to do both of these. Or at least I hope. So I went looking for some music for my Pendragon game, And I thought through memory that the soundtrack of the movie Excalibur was pretty epic, if I remember right. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go try to find some music. Maybe I'll find the soundtrack from Excalibur, and maybe I'll be able to put that into my game. And lo and behold, I found a soundtrack for Sword in the Stone, the old Disney movie. It came out in '63. And I was like, okay. And there's this one song on it that I was like, oh man, I love that song. I mean, it's not sung well. It's not a masterpiece, but I think it would work really good for my game as just an introduction to the game. Because it talks about how the king is dead. All the knights are trying to pull the sword out of the stone because the prophecy says that whoever draws the sword will be the king. And so everybody's trying to be that person. And the song goes through all that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's kind of like a history primer in music for the campaign. Like a lore dump, but in music. The players already know this, but I still thought it was pretty cool. Okay, that's not going to be enough, I don't think. I just need just a little bit more. That might be it. This is the last one. And then I'll have to clean my brush. Okay, it's getting to the point where the glue is starting to become a little runny. Either the glue has settled, or I didn't shake it up enough, or it's just runny. But runny is what I like when it comes to blocking a figure, because then there's certain areas that will have more glue than others. And what does that mean? Well, there's going to be more flock sticking to that area because of surface tension. We already talked about that. Okay, how am I going to do this where it's not going to fall or get everything gluey? I'm going at different angles and trying to do like a camouflage pattern. And then green in smaller areas. But thicker. So Monday we're going to make characters. I've only got 2 players, and I'd like to get 2 or 3 more. The campaign is set for 2 to 5 players, So I'm okay, but role-playing games are always better with about 4 people, maybe 5, because then there's interactions between the players, and I probably could put a little more right there. Oh, and right here, yeah, the glue is starting to come through. Now on light flock like this because it has no weight or very little weight, surface tension won't really have that much of an effect on it. And that's why I had it down. I basically do artificial surface breaking of the surface tension. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush, and then I'm going to come back and pat this other one down, and then we're going to do something a little different. Wow, it's still raining outside. My camera's still working? It is still working. All right. Maybe I resolved that issue that I had yesterday with the camera being all funky. Funky monkey. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to lay out all the roads and rivers again, and then see where the fields that I'm missing are. Okay, my hands are probably still a little wet because while I was in there, I went ahead and washed my hands. Because I got some of that brown paint on it. Okay, so to be able to put the roads and rivers down, I need to kind of clean this off without dumping this. Luckily, that's one reason why I put them in boxes. Well, for one thing, so the flock won't go everywhere. And secondly, so that I can move them, stack them somewhere off to the side. Okay, That's a good spot right there. And before we finish today, I'll shake all these off. Because I only want them to soak in the glue for about an hour. They won't be completely dry. That's okay. Whatever's going to soak into would have already done it within an hour. I think. Part of the reason why I want to do this is so that I can see if I've got enough fencing to cover what I need it to cover. And the fields, which I already know I don't have the proper fields. Okay, if I do this enough times, I will know exactly where everything goes. I won't have it exactly down, but it'll be close enough for me to figure it out. I think these are interchangeable. I don't necessarily have to put this one down, but there we go. This river's going to go somewhere in there. This is going to go somewhere over there. This is going to connect to it right there. I already know this one is going to go up there. South. Oh, not southwest, just south. So it's right there. Ooh, this one. Okay, right. Goes right in here. I'm going to have to move that out of the way. Something like that. North, west, 2. Goes right there. I know that goes on the end. One of these shorts That's 2. Okay, that's south 2. So that goes here. And this is south 1. Southeast 1. This is just 2, so it's right there. Southwest 1. No, southwest is over here. Wait a second. That's southeast. Okay, this is southwest. That works perfect. Southwest 3. Oh, 3 is up here. Southwest 2. What? 1, 2. It's a serious, that's right, I forgot. It's like a serious dog leg. That's close enough. This is 3. Okay. Push this in a little. Now I'm not sure if I want to break these up with fences or not. I know a lot of this is going to be woods. This is not going to be woods. There is going to be some what's the word I'm looking for? Woods, not woods, wheat fields. Now there is a big gap between the wheat fields and the woods. So I'm going to definitely put a fence line. Along there. Something like that. Or I could even use one of these with a door. Not sure how much space that is. Oh, that works. I got some half pieces. All right, that works. All of that is woods. All of that is woods. There wouldn't be a fence line along the river. but there very well could be a fence here. Too long. And there. This is going to be woods right in this little section. I think I want to use some of these zigzag fences just where I can. No, it's just like 1 inch too long. Something like that. I'm not sure how the woods are going to look over there. We'll figure it out. Something like that. And then, of course, the redoubt is going to be up there somewhere. I'm reaching. It's actually going to be closer to the edge, but it's going to be something like that with some of those. I'm reaching. And then, I don't know, an extra one just in case. But yeah, the redoubt's going to be up there somewhere. That works. Oh, I didn't cover this? Okay. Now, I don't think there's any woods over here. I don't think. Now, I think I'm going to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Because this has a gate on it. Now, I thought I made some of these with gates on them. Okay, there's one right there. And there's one right here. actually. Be something like that. That works. I'm trying to visualize where the woods are and where they're not. Okay, that looks good. Now there's going to be some fields in here and right here. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have enough fencing, because a lot of the roadside is going to be next to woods, and I don't want to put a fence between the road and the woods. That's just me. Coming together. I'm thinking about doing a new tile. Not right away, but because there's a mill that's going to go here, and I want it to have water going like from here through the mill and back into the creek or something. So I want to put some like a little river going through the town sector. Because it's not labeled, I think I'm gonna put a church on one of these, just for S&Gs. And this is a pretty big building, so that would go there. Coulter's Farm is right there. And then Freeman's Farm. It's going to be right there. Okay. Yep, that works. Okay, let me look at my map and try to piece together like how many of those fields I'm going to need. Okay, a shit ton. Okay, from the road. Okay, they call that McBride's Farm. Okay, hold on. Okay, it looks like McBride's Farm is about here. And then there's a no-named something or other right here. I think that's where I'll put the church, because it's not named. And it's kind of in the middle of the community. I'll need to do another tile for that, because that one's rough. How about that? That's a lot of town sectors, really. I didn't realize Freeman's Farm had that many town sectors. But that's okay. I made them small. Well, not small. They're size 2. Okay. Not the right battle. Okay, right here. So if I imagine this, it needs to come all the way down to the board edge, like from here to over there. Now, McBride's farm is pretty big. I probably could add a second tile from McBride's farm, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to make it a plowed field. So I'm going to need probably at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 or more over there. And then over here, if I remember right, the woods was right here. So I'm going to need 10, 11, maybe 13. I'm going to shoot for 13. That might be a little excessive, but that's what we're going to shoot for. Now, if you remember, as I cut this, it's going to shed, right? But I'm using all my boxes. Well, not all of them. I got a couple more down there. So I'm just going to move these out of the way, just so I can get up in this business here. Okay, I'm using the ruler here to kind of give me a general depiction. Wait, 2.5, that's here. Okay. This should work. It's long enough. Okay. Now, the other way, I'm only going to get 5. So if I do 3 rows, I'll have 15, right? Okay. 15 should be enough. I hope. Okay. perforating it in a straight line. So then later I can just see where the cut needs to go. And I'm kind of eyeballing it. I'm not, it's terrain. It can be inaccurate. I'll still need to paint the bottoms of these. That's okay. Yeah, I think I bought this format on Amazon for like $17, I think. And this is only half of it because I cut it in half to start. So the other piece, if I wanted to, I could make big fields for like 28 millimeter gaming. Fantasy gaming, Warhammer or Oathmark or something. I love the Oathmark game. I've even done a little boot camp tutorial of how to play. But I don't really have any armies. Because I find myself painting historicals way more than fantasy. Whoop, we don't need to go all the way out there. So I'm doing 2.5 by 3. And because it's a 15-inch mat, that gives me 5 per row. Checkerboard thing going on. Checkerboard. Checkerboard. I hope everybody's doing okay today. The weather's horrible here. But luckily I got all my packages shipped. Somebody, I don't remember the name, but he ordered a ton of 15 millimeter Revolutionary War stuff. So he's after my own heart. Okay, now I'm not completely cutting it because I want it to kind of hold together a little bit so that I can cut the other angles as well. Now this one I don't mind if I cut all the way through, but okay, I think I did. And this is where the scissors come in. And I'm shedding. Need that shedding. I'm saving it because I will eventually be doing some hay bales, hay stacks. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, this is cut all the way through, all the way across. This one's cut all the way through, all the way across. The only thing holding it together is the fibers. Just making sure everything's separated. Okay, I think we are good. Because it's like got a dirty edge where the fibers didn't get cut perfectly straight or or they fell apart or whatever, I do go back in later on all four sides and kind of just like I did with the wood templates, or yeah, just like I did for the wooden templates, I clean up the edges. Where I cleaned up the edges before I painted the base. Okay. Gonna have to use my whisk broom on this when I clean up. because of the fibers. And that's one reason why I switched to the GW grass mat. It's because it's a lot easier to sweep up. I don't know if you've ever seen this type of a Games Workshop mat. I know they don't make them anymore. But it's basically a big piece of felt that has Woodland Scenics grass, the same grass that I was using on the woods. I think they took a roller with glue and just rolled on the felt and then sprinkled static grass over the entire thing. I'm sure they had a machine to do it. That's all this is felt with static grass. Not static grass, flock. Okay, I'm not going to clean the edges today, but I will clean them before, because what I'll do is I'll just go and I'll just go around the edge, making sure that all the loose little fibers that are sticking out get chomped up. Well, I probably could do that right now while I'm at it. Look at all this residue. It definitely makes a mess. But I'm going to repurpose that mess into a haystacks. You know, like the ones you saw on Band of Brothers when they were attacking Foy. I find it funny that there are people that call it foie. It's foy. The French might call it foie, but I'm not French. I don't call Milan Milano. The actual name of the city is Milano. But I don't call it Milano, I call it Milan. And I don't call Paris Paris. Foy is foy. Yeah, I learned a new term last couple of days. Reading the Pendragon book, um, they had a term in there. I don't know what it is. I now know what it is. When you have a group of knights teamed up and formed like a unit, a hunting band or adventuring band or a unit in like a tournament or something, they have a term for that. It's called like a collier or colty or something like that. I don't remember. It's in the book. I'll have to refamiliarize myself with it. Okay, nice trim. There's a 28 millimeter hay bale right there, but I won't be doing 28. I'll probably be doing 15s. Look at this mess. Okay. We got these guys right here. And then there's the woods is like right here. And then there's going to be a field there. I might have counted wrong, but there's going to be a massive field up here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. There can be gaps like that because I can put like little fence lines and stuff inside of them. I don't know. I'll have to figure out how that goes. I'm glad I did 15 because it looks like 13 wouldn't have been enough. Okay, let me get back to the map. Let me kind of check. Okay, so I've already done it wrong. Just to the north of the farm, and then it angles down to about there. Kind of like that. And then there's a little piece in front of the farm. Like right there. wonder how much of this I can double up. Doesn't look like a lot. And I shouldn't anyway, because this is supposed to stick out a little bit. I think that's what I was counting in my head. 13. And then here's the 15. So let me double check the Arnold. That works like that. Okay. And the woods would be right here. But we could put a couple of fences like that. That would work just fine. And we've already figured out that that works just fine. Okay, let me get these really long ones. Okay, that works. That works well. And then none of these are really short. Other than that one. Something like that works. That works. Okay, I'm going to have just enough. All right. The next step is to shake off the trees, not the trees themselves, but the tree templates, lay them out, and I want to see I don't remember where all these go. I'm going to use this smaller brush to knock everything clean. to knock it senseless. Okay. Clean that off at some other time. I think this goes right here. I think. Like I'm doing my laundry and I gotta beat up my sheets. Okay, this brush might not be soft enough. Might have to use my makeup brush. Now I was thinking this one goes right here, but it doesn't because that's too long. Where would this go? Would it go here maybe? Ooh, it looks like it does. Yeah, the glue hasn't dried. So wherever I grip it, block was coming off. So I gotta be careful. I knew it wasn't going to be dry. But I figured it would be ready to be knocked senseless. Okay, now where would this go? I have a feeling no, I don't think it would go there. And I don't think it goes there. Definitely doesn't go there. Oh, hold on. I think it goes right here. I could have looked at the bottom. It would have told me. Or gave me a hint anyway. Okay, it says southwest. So that must be this piece over here. Huh? Okay. It does say edge and it does say wheat. So it goes here. This road must just not be in the right spot. Yeah, I'm okay. Making some adjustments. Okay, well, cloud field. I don't know where did I put this? I don't even remember. I don't think I would have put it there. Where did I have these two pieces? Behind this? I don't think so. Maybe there somewhere, maybe, possibly. I don't know. See, these wood templates are going to keep me honest. I know for a fact that goes in there. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Got to be that way. Now this piece, would it have gone right there? Maybe. If so, what does it say? River, road, bridge. Yep, yep. That's exactly where it goes. Okay. I know this goes right in there. That works. Yeah, this says edge. Got a river, got an edge, and it's got wheat. I have a feeling it's supposed to have gone right through here. Yep, this whole area over here is wooded. That edge, river, wheat, yeah. Okay, so this area is covered. All the way, this is all looking good. Now this is a bigger one. It's going to go up there. Yeah, that goes right there. Yeah, that piece looks really good. I'm just going to let it dry more and then go and knock out all the extra stuff. Okay, now these are thin. They probably go right there. Yep. One says the mill on it. And it's pointed at the mill. Yeah, this river might go up more because the next piece is like really thin. River. No, I'm confused about this piece. Not going in here. I thought it would go right here. Oh, you know what? I bet you it goes there. Where does this one go? Bridge. River. No. Where does this go? Got a river and it's pointing. I don't know what it's pointing at. For some reason, I'm thinking it goes here, but that doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm not sure where this piece goes. We'll have to figure that out in a bit. I would have thought it would go over there. north. That's all it says. I have a feeling it goes there. Okay, this is mid, but I think it goes right in here. Is there, did I make woods for the other side of the river? Like maybe something like that? I don't think so. It looks like it should fit right there, but I don't think that's where it goes. I still got a couple more pieces. East edge. Okay. Next to the river. Goes right there. Which kind of implies that the river goes like that. There we go. It's coming together. Two more fairly bigger pieces. Excuse me. There should be one here, one there, and then the little piece belongs in there. Oh, now that I flipped the river. It's probably supposed to be just like that. Okay. All right. This one says wheat, edge, southeast. Okay, so that's probably this piece right here. Goes like that. And this wheat field should be kind of, okay, let's do it this way. Up against the woods. Something like that. Something like that. Okay, this is the last tray. And I know where it goes. Couldn't read that. Edge. Okay. Okay. Oh, I don't like the way the Redoubt looks, mainly because it's got grass. I want that whole area to be kind of like muddy, but I could make a template like this and not put any grass in it, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Once I get these boxes clean, I think what I'll do is I'll pull down some trees, put them on the template just so you can kind of get like a visual of what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, I haven't even brushed off pieces yet, and you can see I'm already collecting quite a bit. And I don't really see any problem with using that as a coarse turf. Messy. Hey.
Okay.
Is it still raining?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you busy today?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Some of this wax paper got glued on to the. Okay, there we go. The box. Okay. All right, this is the last one. Yeah, look at all that I recovered. Okay, I'm just going to toss this. That's majority of the battlefield. I don't know if you can really see that. Only stand on my tippy toes. Okay, these are my trees. And they look like this. Kind of a plastic look to them, and they got kind of a gloss look. But if I go through, I can put like flock on them and it'll make them look a lot better. And these guys are on metal washers, so they should not fall over. This guy's not. He's on a wooden base because I think I ran out of washers. But I think the washer trees look the best. Um, and by not gluing them onto a tree stand, you give the player an opportunity to move the trees around when his troops are moving through there. And depending on how thick you want the trees, the woods to be, you could just pile the trees on. I think I'm going to run out. So maybe I need to spread these out a little bit. Something like that. Yeah, this guy's on a wooden base as well. Yeah, I didn't realize how much woods is on this battle. I'll have to rebase some of these trees. Doesn't even have a base. laying this out, it kind of lets me know where my shortcomings are. Yeah, I'm running out of trees. This amount of trees is probably okay. I can also throw some lichen in there to make it thicker. And I have two more I could base up. Let's bring that back a little bit. Yeah, the initial engagement is going to be Morgan with his rifles and his Dearborn Light are going to be generally in this area. Right in through here. And then the British are going to have 4 battalions on the road right here. And later in the game, the Brunswickers are going to come in through this road right here. You know, this road where the Brunswickers are going to come in. The American reinforcements have 2 places they're going to come in. One of them is this road right here. I think Poor comes up, I think, behind Morgan. I can't remember. And then Learned and Arnold historically came up this way. Fraser is in and around the upper left-hand corner in the redoubt, right? Now, you know, I was talking about Bremen's Jaegers, Lights, and Grenadiers. I was talking about them being part of Fraser's brigade, and then just allowing that. But I was looking through Land of the Free, and I was looking at some of the other scenarios because this one's not written up. In the other scenarios, they have some brigades or some overall commanders that have like 6 or 7 brigades, and they are. And in this battle, I have it set up for 3 brigades, but I don't see why I couldn't have Bremen be his own brigade, because he really should be, right? So I think I'm just going to put in another Brunswick or Hessian commander, and he's going to be Bremen with the Grenadiers and the Light Jaegers. So the British basically have 3 brigades on the table, with Riddlesel coming in later. And then their hands are tied in that Fraser can't leave the redoubt until something, I haven't figured it out yet, something will trigger his escape, or his sally forth from that. The main objective is not necessarily Freeman's Farm, even though that's the name of the battle. I believe the idea was to just bloody Burgoyne's units, just damage them, to make it not worth fighting for, or something like that. And then eventually they got him to surrender. I don't have any like loose trees. What I was planning on doing was putting trees just in, spots like that, to kind of, I would have to really kind of thin out the wood lines to be able to do that kind of stuff. I really want to do that. I could thin out the edges, like take a piece off of here and here, because there's already quite a few trees there anyway. I could just plop these trees down for looks, just to make it look better. I don't know, maybe one over there. I could take a few more and put them out there, and just let the players know that these individual trees, they mean absolutely nothing. They're just there for looks. But the tree templates are actually difficult ground and cover. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to let these dry a little bit more, and then later, maybe in a couple hours, I'll come through with my makeup brush and I'll clean it off. But I don't really have anything else that I want to do today. I do need to paint the bottoms of those wheat fields so that they look like this. This is how I want them to look. Those, they have like a gray base, and I don't want that. See how that base looks kind of gray? I wonder how long it would take me to set this up in full at a convention. Once everything is ready to go, I've got all the pieces. I got the dice, the rules, the tables, the measuring sticks, the terrain. I'll bring a mat, I'll lay it on the table, I'll throw it out there. I wonder how long it would take me to take over a table, set up my battlefield, put the figures out, and then explain the rules to some new players that have never played Land of the Free. I'm guessing probably around 30 minutes. Yeah, probably 30 minutes. But I don't have to cut anything. I won't have to cut anything. I won't have to paint anything. You know, I won't have to block any terrain pieces or anything. It'll just be laying it out. So it'll go a lot faster, I think. So probably 30 minutes. So as long as they give me a 30-minute lead up time to the game, then it should be okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to leave you to it. I see that we've got one chat. Let's see what we got on that chat. Joseph says, hi. Terrain is looking good. Thanks, Joseph. I appreciate it. Put a lot of effort into the terrain. I wanted my terrain to be... I wanted to accomplish a bunch of different goals. One of them was I wanted it to look good. That's the main thing. I wanted it to be easy to lay out. I wanted it to be bespoke, yet flexible. So, like this. I could use this road in any battle, right? It's just, I could use this wood patch in any of my battles. I could use these wheat fields in any battles. The fencing in any battle. Tree template or cities, bridges. Pretty much I wanted everything to be specific for the land, for the Freeman's Farm battle, but I wanted it to be flexible enough that I could use it in any battle, right? Or maybe not, maybe not, this piece might not be able to be used in every battle, or that piece might be the wrong shape or something like that, but it's flexible enough that if I got a box of templates and it calls for a patch of woods, I can just pull one out and lay it out there. I wanted it to be, I wanted it to look good. I wanted it to be specific for the Freeman's Farm battle, but also geomorphic, so I could put it on any battle. And also not just American War of Independence. A patch of trees can be used in the Roman days. It could be used in World War II. It could be used, whenever. So I wanted to get the most out of what I was making. Yeah. And I made my road specifically big enough for a march column of Romans as well as Napoleon's battles, Napoleonics, or American War of Independence. World War II tanks will fit on these roads. Yeah. And speaking of that, this is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you're into the American War of Independence, Warlord Games just put a pre-order for their Revolution Epic Revolution. Unfortunately for me, I've already got 15 millimeter, and I'm going to continue to expand my 15 millimeter armies. But if this had come out like a year ago, I might have considered it for as an alternative. Part of the problem with Warlord Games Epic, the bases are 60 millimeters wide. That's, hold on, I got a ruler. That's as wide as this wheat field. That's 60 millimeters. Look how big that is compared to that road. You know, and if you got a unit of these on the table, you've got like 4 bases. Now they're thinner, they're only 20 millimeters thick. So, but a unit would be like 3 to 5 bases wide. So you're looking at a small unit being that big, and a larger unit being this big. That's ridiculous space consumption. You know how big of a table you would have to play Epic? That doesn't make sense. Epic is supposed to be small, which means you should be able to get more on the table. But actually, you get less. Because regular 28 millimeter black powder is 40 millimeters wide. The same as my 15 millimeters. But I got more figures per base. I got 6 figures on a base instead of 4. And instead of 40 millimeters deep, my 15 millimeters are only 30 millimeters deep. So, wait, I was right the first time. So one of my units is approximately that big. You've got 2 bases there and 2 bases there. That's 4 bases. So that would be a 15 millimeter unit. And you would, if you put them all in line, it would only be, cut it in half, but it'd only be this long, as opposed to this big. I don't know what Warlord's thinking. And they've committed to it. They've got Hail Caesar, Pike and Shot. They've got the Civil War, Napoleonics, and now they're going towards American War of Independence. And it's all 60 millimeter bases, which is ridiculous. So, if the figures were individual, I could rebase them any way I wanted, and I would love to get plastics in American War of Independence. I would love to get plastics for Napoleonics. Nobody makes plastics. Everybody wants to make lead or 3D prints, and I'm not 3D printing jack. All right, so that was my rant. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna let this stuff. I'm gonna gradually pick everything up, except for the trees, the tree templates. I mean, I'm gonna let them dry, and then I'm gonna clean them off. But everything else to get picked up. All right, guys. I will catch you. Probably not tomorrow. Maybe Monday. And if you're interested in figures, you should shop on my eBay store. Go to Wargaming and Miniature on eBay, and I sell a lot of miniatures there. Terrain and books and all kinds of stuff. Now, if you're interested in having me paint for you on commission, you should let me know either on eBay or YouTube, or drop an email to me. And I would be glad to, and probably in the description below is a price sheet. It's a Google Doc. You can click on it. You can see what I charge for my commissions. If that's something you're interested in, I'd be glad to paint some figures for you. I'll put this on hold to paint some miniatures for you. That's no problem. You know, I also have an X. It's I think it's I don't even know my X. I think it's Mr. Everything SC. So, but you should be able to find. I think it's in the description below on my YouTube as well. If you're interested in some role playing, like if you're into role playing games, I am starting a Pendragon game, and I'm looking for players. And we're doing the Roll20 thing every Thursday starting in May. So if that's something you're interested in, drop me a message on Roll20. I'll get you invited. I'll get you invited to our Discord server. And we're going to make some characters Monday night. I don't think I'm going to be streaming it. I think this is just going to be private between the players and myself. But depending on if the players don't mind or if they're okay with it, we might stream it. But probably not. It's probably just going to be a private game between me and the players. And then I could always do like a video every week letting you know like a synopsis of what happened. We could always do something like that. All right, guys. I'm gonna log out, turn everything off, and start cleaning up. All right, I'll see you.